I'll be over at 10, you told me time and again, but you're late. I'm waiting around and then I run to the door. I can't take anymore. It's not you. You let me down again. Baby, baby, try to find a little time and I'll make you happy. I'll be home. I'll be beside the phone waiting for you.
Welcome
hello.
to another edition of the Brew Crew Review. With me today is Chad Collins, Scott Bartell, Vince Travato, and yours truly, Craig. So anyway, we're with our 25th ever episode of the Brew Crew Review.
Congratulations, guys. Great.
So, all right, well, let's get into today's episode. Let's talk about some of the Brewers' spring battles going on during spring training. Now, not unlike most years where the Brewers were pretty much devoid of a lot of major league talent, I guess you could say, there were a lot of jobs, positions, both the offense and on the pitching staff that were up for grabs. This year's not quite that many unanswered questions. Going into this season, there's not too many open spots. Let's start by, there's just a few of them we'll go over on each one. Who we think is so far winning the position, who we think is going to come away come the end of March with that job. Let's start with the number 5 spot in the rotation. This now, is going down to Rick Helling, who, served as very well for us in the second half last year as our 5th starter and spot starter. Dave Bush, who we acquired as part of one of the 3 components of the Lyle Overbay trade. And also, of course, Dana Evelyn, who also was called up from AA last year, served pretty well in the bullpen, but still has probably a lot of learning. He's still a young guy. But who do you think has got the best chance of coming out of spring training in Maryville, Arizona, back to Miller Park as the number 5 spot in our rotation?
Well, even though his spring was excellent, I don't think that you can quite add Tim Dillard to the mix yet.
No.
He's had a great spring, but I think he's going to probably start the year in AAA.
He's from Mississippi, right? 6'4".
Yeah.
He is, which is
Actually,
odd,
he might even start back at AA.
Same
Same height as
Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah, it's kind of odd.
President.
But Lincoln. In any case, though, Dillard was putting up great numbers this spring. I think, though, that the 4th spot's going to go to Dave Bush, actually. I know a lot of people said Toma Oka to begin with. I like Oka in the 5th spot. I think that he provides a real quality arm in 5, and I don't think you're going to go wrong either way, really. But I just think that Bush, through his brilliant pitching this spring, has earned a spot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bush, too. I would like to see him as number 4, but I think just with the money we're giving Oka, they'll probably make him number 4, and Bush will be number 5.
Yeah, I really think, I think that Bush has potentially even make it up to 3, so, yeah.
Right out, you think he's had that good a spring, Scotty? That
well,
he would go ahead of either Capuano or Doug Davis?
Based on the 0 innings I've seen him pitch this spring, no, but based on what he's done even last year, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I think he does have that ceiling of a number 3 starter. Whether or not we put him there to begin with, I don't know. And I think Oka, with the contract we gave him, and it really doesn't really matter the number that they actually go in the actual rotation, besides the fact that the 5th starter during April, because there's not quite as many games, sometimes gets skipped, so they don't get as many starts to start the season. But I really think with a new acquisition, Dave Bush, he has outpitched Rick Helling this spring, and Dana Evelyn has pitched fairly well, but I really think that he just needs a whole year, especially if we're converting him back from a middle reliever or a left-hand specialist back to what I think the role he's more suited, and that's a starter.
Well, I like Dana Evelyn's potential. I like his arm. I like his makeup as a physical ball player, but I don't think that he necessarily has the mental tools yet to be a big league ball player. I think somebody said he reported to camp 9 pounds overweight. You can't have that as a rookie. I mean, it's bad enough when you're a veteran and you have a roster spot locked up. But what are you doing? If you're a young guy and you're not yet guaranteed a spot, what are you doing coming into camp and risking something like that? You're risking your career. I just don't think
Well, he's only going to be 22 years old this year, and I think he still has a very, very bright future, and I think as a starting pitcher. But if that doesn't work out, and we'll see with a full year, I think, a full year at AAA, unless there's major injuries at the Brewers starting staff, and knock on wood, let's hope that that doesn't happen, we may have to see someone like him or maybe Zach Jackson brought up from AAA or whoever's really doing well at AAA. But I really think he's definitely going back to AAA for the whole season. Keep himself in shape and see what he can do as logging lots of innings as a starter and get that experience in minor leagues is very valuable at his age. And it'll just make us a better team possibly next year and see what he can contribute. So it'll be a big year for him whether or not he's at AAA, maybe helping the Sound repeat as Pacific Coast League champions. That'd be a valuable experience for anyone. But we'll see, and we know he's in the trusted hands, of course, Frank Crumbliss, the AAA manager who was re-upped this year. But so yeah, I think we all have agreed. Dave Bush, I think, will get that last spot. Rick Helling, I think, is a valuable part of our team in case of injury and to have long relief, or I like to use him in the mop-up role myself. But hopefully we don't have that many situations where we're mopping up games.
The Ricky Batalico.
And you know what? If we're even saying that, even making that comparison, what a jump! I mean, you went from Burba. Well, I don't know. It's just I think that Helling is actually quite better than Burba. But
well, yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I am glad that Rick Helling is not in our rotation. Well, we'll see what happens. The spring's not over yet.
Dave Burba is in the Smithsonian though.
Yeah, in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
that's right.
look at it this way: 2 years ago, our fifth spot meant automatic loss, and now we're sitting here looking. Wow, you know what? Actually, our number 6 guy, if he pops into the fifth spot, we got a legitimate shot at getting a win out of it. So.
Gone finally are the days of, and this is of course a BrewerFan.net term, the designated rotation stooge that we throw out there as the number 5 starter, whether it be Wes Oldmiller,
Victor Santos,
who knows who. So yeah, those days are in the past, thankfully, and we got a very solid staff. So that's very exciting. Now also another spot up for grabs, and not really up for grabs, but just a situation that has to be monitored. Corey Koski performed, of course, for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic before rejoining the Brewers, and Bill Hall, who of course everyone feels that he deserves a lot of at bats this season. Third base, who's going to get the? Who do you think is going to? I don't think either guy is going to win the job necessarily, but who do you think will get the majority of bats just at third base this year? Will it be a straight platoon, which would probably mean Koski gets slightly more at bats at third base, or will it be Bill Hall will play even against some right-handers at third base, and he'll end up getting more at bats at third base than Koski this year? What are your guys' feelings on this?
I don't think it can be close. I think Koski will get more at bats at third base. I mean, Hall will be what Bill Hall was last year. He'll provide relief for Prince Fielder. He'll provide relief for Ricky Weeks. He could even do it for J.J. Hardy. So, I mean, he's going to have at-bats at first, second, and short. And then he'll provide a little relief also for Corey Koski. I mean, I think it's mainly more of Koski's position. Hall will be doing the same rotation thing. And I think it's going to work out for everyone. It's a great position to be in to have someone as valuable as Bill Hall to give rest to all 4 infielders, especially when they're young.
I agree with you completely, Chad. I think that Corey Koski wasn't brought into Milwaukee to be, a reserve player or a part-time third baseman. He's going to be our starting third baseman. And Brewers fans just need to get used to that. Bill Hall had a great year last year. I want him to get a lot of at-bats. I don't necessarily want him to get them all at third base. I want him to be able to give J.J. Hardy a day off. I want him to be able to give Ricky Weeks a day off, Prince Fielder, or even an outfielder.
Right. There's no doubt that Bill Hall is actually going to get more at-bats than Corey Koski this year, but
do you really think that's a true statement? I hope so. I honestly hope that he does.
I do. I think there's no doubt. I think Bill Hall will get more at-bats than Corey Koski, but I do think that Koski will get more at-bats at third than Bill Hall will. So.
Okay.
It's not a slap in the face at Hall because the guy can play more positions than Koski. It's
It's actually a credit to his talent.
Let's get that multi-year deal worked out.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's about even. I think if, let's say the third base position yields about 600 at-bats this year, I think it's going to be about 300, which means I believe that Yost will leave Bill Hall in at third base against some right-handed pitchers that he maybe has a good track record against. And not only that, because I also believe that with his injury history, Corey Koski could spend, again, hopefully not, but spend a little bit of time on the DL. So again, if that happens, Hall will be playing every day at third, no doubt. So it's really exciting the depth that the Brewers have, and just the acquisition of Koski gives us depth by allowing us to use Hall as that super utility player. And that's something that we're really in good position. If we do, God forbid, sustain injuries, we're able to sustain the depth, and I think that's what's going to make us a solid team and definitely an over 500 team this year. So again, I agree with what you guys have said. I think it'll be interesting, but I don't think it's going to be any type of competition. I think they're going to split at bats or possibly platoon for most part of the season unless injury.
This is really off topic, but where do you think Corey Hart's going to get the majority of his at bats?
I would say backing up first base and also spotting both Jenkins and also sometimes Carlos Lee.
Right. I think it's going to be first base, though. I agree.
And we've debated about this before. I actually think he could spot Brady Clark in center field, too. I know he's not a traditional center fielder, but I think that he's got the tools to be if he works at it. Depending
on who makes all our roster out of spring training, I think he even has more experience playing center than Gabe Gross, who would be our fifth outfielder. So, I mean, yeah, if Brady Clark needs days off, I think Corey Hart is the one on the roster. People say weeks, but I really don't think we're going to mess with his position. I think we're going to leave him at second base.
Not yet.
He'll be a perennial all-star second baseman, hopefully. So why mess with moving him around unless it's absolutely necessary? And I think we trust Brady Clark to be there almost every day. He's got such a blue-collar, workman-like mentality. I mean, you got to love a guy like that. I've recently read in the paper he's the first one in the batting cages every day, even all the way at the beginning of spring training, and the last one's out every day. And so for a guy with marginal talent like that to work his tail off, I mean, he definitely deserves the contract that he's been given.
Even after the extension, he's working harder than ever.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a testimony for what he's about.
Definitely a guy you want on your team when you go to war in a division like the NL Central. Now let's move on to one other spot. Now, the middle relief corp, obviously it depends on if we carry 10, 11, maybe even 12 pitchers coming out of spring. I would say with the off days, we'd probably only come out with 11 maximum pitchers. It's going to be up for grabs. There might be one or two relievers, middle relievers, that don't make the squad. I think, obviously, the back end of our bullpen is set with Turnbow, Kolb, Matt Wise, and Jose Capion are guaranteed almost to make the team. Just open spots, I think we need to have one left-hander, so I believe Jorge De La Rosa will probably make the team. But out of the other right-handers there in the mix, and maybe two of these three guys will make it, but out of the guys that could possibly make the team, who do you guys like better out of Chris DeMaria, who we acquired from the Royals in the offseason? We've got Justin Lair or Kane Davis. Is there one of these three guys you guys really think is going to make it for sure from what he's shown this spring? Who do you guys think will make it? If not, two of these guys could make it, but who's your favorite out of these three guys I mentioned?
Chris DeMaria has had a great spring. I know that we brought him in from Kansas City, and I think he's proven himself and should get the job as a right-hander out of the pen. I like Justin Lair a lot, too. In fact, if I was Ned Yost, I'd certainly consider having both of them on the roster, or if not both right away. Initially, I would say, send one guy down who's got the options, bring him up then within a few weeks of the season when our schedule expands, we're playing a lot more games, we might need that extra pitcher. So I would say either one of those guys. Kane Davis has never really impressed me, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I'd send him down if we could.
What do you guys think?
I don't know. Everybody always says like Kane Davis. Well, he can really bring the heat, and that's great. And you got to take a little bit of an extra chance. Give him another option just to see if he's actually going to have a chance. But I guess we really didn't do that with Julio Santana last year anyway. So I don't really see the point of that. We do definitely need a lefty though, so it's going to be one of those two, as you said.
Okay, Chad?
Yeah, I think the bullpen is it's so wild right now. I just can't read it. I think it'll probably come down to the last couple days of spring training. Maybe even tougher competition than the Miller Park Diamond Dancers that we saw 2 weeks ago in our Brew review. But I don't know. I like Justin Larry. He has more experience. It's just so hard to say. Who knows if we have two lefties? Maybe Evan and De La Rosa will be up. It's so tough. It probably depends on what we need and what the schedule looks like and just what Yost feels with his gut feeling. I'm sorry, I can't make any real predictions on the bullpen. It's pretty tough right now.
I still don't think that Evelyn or De La Rosa is going to be that situational lefty guy. I don't think either one of them is going to be that in the bullpen. That's why I think it's going to be one of those two.
You see De La Rosa more as a long guy rather than a situational? Because De La Rosa's out of options and everybody still loves his arm. We still talk about the fact he was a big prospect with Boston before we got him in the Richie Sexton trade. Do we want to give up on a guy like that who still has all the labels attached to being a big prospect, still has the arm that we saw, has improved control in the winter leagues, and his only real flaw is that he blew a game or two last year and then wasn't given a chance because Ned Yost didn't trust him in 2005.
I still think in 2006, I think he's going to wind up being the mop-up guy as opposed to Helling, who's going to be the long reliever type guy. But
Is Mike Adams out of the equation? I mean, it's just
Mike
it's
Adams
so tough.
also
There's so
someone
many-
who's
yeah.
been pitching decently this spring, and
Yeah.
he's got a shot too. So, and just to clear it up, Adams, Lair, DeMaria, and Kane Davis are all right-handers. So,
Right.
If we do keep one lefty, I think it's going to be De La Rosa. We're going to even go back to AAA. I think that's almost a for sure thing. But like Scott said, I don't think we'll use De La Rosa as a situational lefty. I hope we do utilize him more than we did last year because he definitely, as a young guy, needs the experience. So hopefully he earns more Yost and Maddox's trust this year. But overall, I think that the Brewers have shown that they don't feel they even need a situational lefty. And you know why? Is because Matt Wise, with his one of the best changeups in Major League Baseball,
Devastating
is
against lefties.
really adept at getting left-handers as well as right-handers out or whatever.
Right.
So it's because of his presence in the bullpen and not even necessarily in a setup role necessarily. Just any, if we're in the 6th, 7th inning in a tough situation, a left-hander coming up, Matt Wise is going to be there for that role because we have that depth in the back of the bullpen now. So I think Matt Wise is going to be one of the guys who's one of the keys to our success in 2006. But he's going to be someone who flies under the radar, and that's what he has done all these years in the bullpen. But I think real hardcore fans really appreciate a guy like Matt Wise being available for us, and I think he offsets us having that situational lefty. So I'm not really worried about that. But to finish up this segment and wrap up, I'm going to throw out that I like Chris DeMaria to be given a chance to come out in spring too on the bullpen, just because I think we're universally not a huge fan of Candia, just because of his secondary pitches besides his
didn't
fastball.
our-
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, our colleague Darren Sutton, didn't he say at the Long event that he likes Kane Davis a lot? Even though he hasn't been on our show yet. But
Yeah, which also made me very skeptical that Kane Davis is possibly the right guy. But
Well, and DeMaria's numbers, I think, this spring
Yeah,
are basically
definitely.
what we need to go by. I mean, he's put up, I think, very impressive numbers.
yeah, I mean, can't argue with numbers. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Great
So, great discussion, guys. And we're going to go to another one of our new segments this year, and that's Stepping Up to the Plate.
That's right.
And Vince is going to fire off questions with us coming up in the next segment. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute. First, here's a little Brewer trivia for you, and if you stay tuned, later in the episode, we'll have the answer for you. But we're coming back with Stepping Up to the Plate with Vince Travato. So hold on just a moment. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with the Brew Crew Review. We're up with our new segment this year, Stepping Up to the Plate.
do this.
9 questions, rapid fire style.
Here we go.
Let's do top of the first. Vince Travato is up to bat this time, and Chad's leading off.
All right, Mr. Collins, Brewers' 5th outfielder in 2006.
Gabe Gross.
Corey Hart.
Gabe Gross. There's a left.
Gabe Gross is well here. All right, question number 2. Brewer who will have the greatest impact in the first month of the season?
First month of the season. I'm going to say, that's a great question. Dun-dun-dun.
Spent a lot of time on that
I'm
one.
going to say Jeff Jenkins. I think he's a stay hot.
I'll say Carlos.
I'm going to say Ben Cheech just because I think he's going to quell doubts that he's over his injury.
I'm going to go with Dave Bush myself. I think he's going to want to hit it hard in Milwaukee. All right, it's a few weeks back now when you're watching this episode, but the third question is more with the ticket sales aspect of things. Were the Brewers at fault in the opening day ticket you could call the fiasco, or people who were waiting outside and didn't get opening day tickets?
No, things happen. If we have a winning team, you got to get used to tickets not being available. There's only so many available, and that's the way it is.
Technically, it's a good thing. No, it's not their fault. Order in advance.
I think that the fans that stayed overnight, bearing the cold, as we'll see in our upcoming fan segment, definitely deserve to have opening day tickets. Hopefully they got them. If they didn't, then yes, that's the Brewers organization's fault. But hopefully they got them, so no.
I'm going to join my colleagues on this side of the aisle and say that fans have to be prepared to deal with the conditions that exist with the tickets.
But they were troopers.
They were troopers, and we give them a lot of credit for being out there, but there's other games in standing room available as well.
Let's keep the discussion.
Yeah, I understand. It's an important topic. Number 4, chances that Danny Cole posts a sub 3.50 ERA in 2006.
You want percentage or yes or no here?
I want the chances.
I'll say 40-60, yes. He will be. 40-60, yes.
50-50. You never know.
Yeah, you got to go with something else. 51-49.
What?
It's the rules. Yeah.
You didn't say
We
that.
explained this
It's not
off
coin
camera.
flip.
Yeah.
Well, all right, whatever. Then I'll say he has a 55% chance of having a sub 3.5 ERA.
Okay.
Thanks to the touch.
Yeah, the touch. Yeah.
The touch.
I think he has a 31% chance of being under 3.5 this year.
I'm going to go with 56%. I think he's going to have a good year, and he's back in Milwaukee. All right, this is a very important question for a lot of fans out there. Will Doug Melvin grow the stash in 2006?
I think it is the year of the mustache.
Year of the
Yes.
mustache.
It has to happen. Absolutely.
I think he's coming.
I'll
in the
root
year
for
with
it
a
every year.
mustache, and there's no reason to shave it, especially once the start the Brewers are going to come off to. No way.
Especially after a good exhibition season. Yeah, Doug Melvin is going to keep the stash. We're going to go over to the rest of the Major League scene here. Will Manny Ramirez get traded in 2006?
Yes, he'll be a malcontent for the clubhouse.
He will be because Boston's not making the wild card. They're not making the playoffs.
No, because I think he's just an untradeable player.
No, because
That's
I
a
think
good answer.
No, because I think that Theo Epstein is a big fan of Manny and can work something out. Now that he's back in
If
the
he was such a
picture.
big fan, why'd he leave and then come back?
All right, number 7, the best old school stadium in baseball. We're talking pre-1950.
Wow, I think I've only been to one, Wrigley Field. I know it's going to upset Brewer fans, but I like the ambiance. It's different, Wrigley Field.
Fenway.
I'm going to go with Fenway as well.
I'm choosing Fenway, even ahead of Yankee Stadium. I can't believe I said that.
No, that's a good option. It really is.
Quiet, please, Scott. That's, yeah, it's, all right. Anyways, number 8, the best baseball city in the United States. And I will Brook Review, been to a few of them. Best baseball city.
St. Louis, obviously. We've been there. St. Louis.
I have no idea.
Nashville. Let's say Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. I wasn't at Nashville.
Why weren't you there?
It was a
Oh,
great baseball
yeah.
city.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I'll just say Boston, just
Boston.
because. I'll stick with the Fenway theme.
I was going to say Toronto, but I'm going to go back with St. Louis.
I
really think
best baseball city in the United States.
Toronto.
Oh, technicality.
Fighting words to
It's,
Canadians.
St.
here.
Louis by far. I think their fans really, truly love the team there. But I think Milwaukee's an up-and-coming great baseball
Top
team.
10.
Up-and-coming.
I'd say St. Louis as well. And Chad, quick, do you want to throw out those numbers that we had earlier this week about the attendance at St. Louis and the prices that are?
Yeah, as of the beginning of March, they sold over 3 million tickets, and I heard on the broker's websites, upper level are going for 600 on their opening day. They cut season tickets in the beginning of March, so that says a lot. Granted, they have a new stadium, but for the fans to come out in that full force, St. Louis, hats off to them.
I really hope they win a World Series for once.
Not this year.
All right, number 9, greatest single year in baseball history.
Wow.
That's a sweeping question, but you know, I think our panel's capable here.
Jeez, that's
Can I
bad.
start that?
No.
1982, the fever of the Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, well, then we'll go 57 Braves.
My baseball purist heart says 1942, but I wasn't alive then, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with 1998.
I'm going to go with 1941, Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, and Ted Williams batting .406. Okay, last question here for you guys. Do we or do we not fire the new intern, Rochelle?
I
know
like
it's tough.
Rochelle, but she's on thin ice. Vince, you're in charge of interns, but I did not get my coffee in time or my tobacco.
I think if you could get a close-up of this tie, unfortunately, she tied it, and I don't, you know what, I'd can her right now.
Actually, I think she did a pretty good job, Scott.
Yeah,
Compared to other weeks, but that's still not great.
It's end over end or
Yeah.
something. I don't know what they call it.
I don't know.
I just don't think she likes you guys because she always comes through in the clutch for me. Anything, she's never, not done anything we've ever asked of her. So I'm all for keeping her on.
I think she's a slacker, and she should get canned.
2-1, a tie would mean
Sorry.
that she stays. I guess I have the deciding vote. I'm actually, this show is on the up. I think that we need to have high standards here. She's gone. Rochelle, you're...
You just got thumbed.
I'm sorry, but you have to leave the studio pretty quick. We
Security.
This is an announcement, though, for all you fans. We do have an intern position that has opened up. If you want to send us an email,
As of 3 seconds ago.
Vince at
Get out of here,
It's
Rochelle.
fine. Vince at
Don't walk in front of our
BrewCreview.com.
camera.
You can reach me. Just please send us a
Going out
resume.
with a blaze of glory.
Yeah, send us a resume, a letter, perhaps, of things that you might be
At least she didn't
interested
make
in
a
doing
scene
for our
like
show.
Jasmina. She
Yeah, well,
was
Jasmina
Well, at least I was at the show.
Yeah.
out of control, though.
And what she did to your car, Scotty, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I actually have respect for
if
that.
It's
you
a
weren't-
94 grand name. It's a Butte, and she
It's-
ruined it.
Yeah. Well, if you weren't aware of it, several local colleges, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I believe, Marquette,
Alverno.
Marion College, Alverno College, and Cardinal Stritch all
White.
have a program set up with their business departments and their sports marketing departments. So please send us an email if you're interested in receiving college credit for your internship experience here at the Brew Crew Review. And we have a few positions that opened up. And the other interns besides Rochelle and Yasmina and Natalia have done a great job. So please
Don't let the
send us-
door hit you on the way out.
Send us an email, vince@brewcrewreview.com. So, all right, that's the
All
10.
right.
This
and
is my
again,
favorite
Check out our
segment
website,
already. Rapid fire.
brewcrewreview.com. But, all right, we're done with the stepping up the plate segment. So now our next segment is our fan segment, and we got a chance, both Chad and Scott got a chance to interview some fans out in front of Miller Park. The day tickets went on sale for the 2006 individual ticket season. So let's go out in the cold with Chad and Scott and see what some of the fans think of the 2006 Milwaukee Brewers season coming up.
Saturday, February 25th, the first day of individual ticket sales for the 2006 Milwaukee Brewers season. We are honored to be with the guys at the front of the line. First of all, what time did you guys get here, fellas?
I got here at 5:30.
Yes.
8.
We got
7 o'clock.
8 o'clock last night.
8 o'clock. We have been here 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock last night. Were you guys here this early last year?
Yeah.
Last year, first one last year.
No,
first
I was
one
not.
this year.
I was second
Hey,
one.
doesn't
Second
matter.
last second.
We're here the last 4 years.
Last 4 years. What game are you guys looking for? Why are you guys? First of all, why are you guys here so early? What's so important?
Opening day.
All about opening day. Opening day.
You guys see renewed optimism from this team this year compared to last year?
90 and 72.
90 and 72. What do you guys think? Playoffs?
Wild card.
Wild card chance. Wild card.
Wild card. All right, fellas. Well, thanks a lot. You guys will be first line. Go ahead.
I would love to press the management for a Teddy Higuera bobblehead day. It has been long overdue. Bring 49 back to town. We want it, baby.
All right, so we got the request for Teddy Garrett Bobblehead Day. Here's the guys first in line. Good luck, fellas. Thanks a lot. Let's go say go Brewers. Go Brewers! All right, take care, fellas.
Let me ask you this. What are you in line for?
Cubs, Cardinals, Houston. Just trying to get the games that I'm worried about getting good seats for later on if I waited.
Excellent, excellent. Not worried about the giveaways or anything like that. More about the team.
It's all about getting good seats for the good games. Unfortunately, we don't have a team like the Yankees coming in this year, but there's a lot of good competitors, and it's a great division, so it's going to be a fun series, a fun season to watch.
Definitely, definitely. What do you think as far as enthusiasm? How would you rate that toward last year as opposed to now this year? What do you think?
I was out here pretty close at the same time last year. I've been a Brewers fan since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, whether they win, whether they lose. I'm a true blue diehard Brewers fan. I love them to death, and the better they do, obviously, the more fun it is to watch baseball, but I'm going to follow them and be a fan of them no matter what.
Excellent. Of the games that you attended last year, what do you think maybe your favorite game or favorite Brewer moment was?
Oh, boy. Opening day last year, Damian Miller's home run and Carlos Lee's home run last year, opening day, was a good time. That made a lot of fun.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, I think that's really about it. We're here again at Miller Park. Thanks a lot, you guys. Appreciate it. What are you guys actually in line for today?
To get tickets.
Opening day tickets.
All right, opening day. Everybody's looking for the opener so far.
Picking up the ladies.
Okay, are you buying anything else just opening day or?
Excitement, man. The season's coming up.
I already got my
Ready for the playoffs?
I already got my season tickets, so just opening day right here.
Just here for the
I
party,
already got
man.
my season tickets.
All right. Also, we actually, I got to commend you guys. This is pretty good planning here, knowing what the weather's going to be like. We got a grill here. Did you actually grill anything on, or is this strictly for heat?
Well, we had a cigarette and some hot dogs.
We had hot dogs.
A couple hot dogs and a cigarette.
Breadsticks, man. We had it all going.
There's a little hot dog bun in there if you
No,
want some.
no, we had some hot dogs.
Yeah, a little bit of
some buns.
Right there, see the
little bit of remnants in there.
You want some of that?
Some hot dogs, a little bit of buns.
We can make you some food if you want. You hungry? Want beer?
You still
No,
got some charcoal.
It's a little bit too, well, it's not too early.
No, it's way too early.
Oh, no, it's good.
Never too
Never too early.
All right, and last question here. What do you guys think about the Brewers this year as far as wins? What do you think?
Oh, the Brewers definitely
Way
going to
off
get
for
at least
wild
90
card.
wins this year.
Wild card.
At least 90 wins. They
Hey,
got great
as long as
pitching.
they
They
beat
got
those
great.
bad
They're
Chicago,
going to
we're
preach
solid.
nothing like
Younger
that.
players
I'm
are
just gonna
stepping
say
up,
You guys
that.
ain't from Chicago, are you?
The young lineup, the young lineup
That's
is
all I
gonna show
care
up.
about. That's all I care
Playoffs
about.
are fun.
The young lineup is gonna show up.
All right, well, I think
Young
that's about
lineup
it.
is gonna
I
show
just
up.
need a go Brewers from you guys.
All right, we're back. Again, that was a bunch of fans outside Miller Park.
Nice work, guys.
All
That
fired
was
up.
good.
They're in line to try to get
Cold.
some opening day tickets to the Cubs game. As our fans tried to take back Miller Park from the fans from Chicago. How was your experience that morning out with the braving the cold with the fans, Scott and Vince?
That's Scott and Chad.
Sorry, Scott and Chad.
Yeah, I'm Chad. It was cold. It was cold. But I was impressed. I mean, there was a lot of excitement in here. Everyone was cold, but everyone was happy. I mean, you had guys nice enough to borrow their grills to us to warm our hands, but they were out there grilling and drinking soda pops and just having a good time. And you could just
All
feel the
their stuff.
atmosphere. And it was a lot of fun. And the lines were way around the building. And it was a record-setting day. The Brewers sold 94,000 tickets that day. So, I mean, it was a great festivity to give away T-shirts, hot dogs, sodas. A lot of excitement. Successful day.
It was amazing. I mean, the line actually literally went a third of the way around the stadium. I mean, there were people that were there, I don't even know.
First people got there at 5 in the afternoon.
We had seen them that
Free on
Friday
Friday
night.
evening.
Yeah,
Friday
just
night.
amazing. I mean, they were just there for so long, and all this for Brewer tickets. It was so great. I mean, it was so cold. I was really only out there after 20 minutes. My hands were shaking. I mean, like, you felt like parts of, you thought your fingers were going to start falling off or something like that.
You also
Well,
have a lot of ailments, though.
we didn't have, well, I didn't bring gloves. That was kind of an error.
Yeah.
But
That was definitely.
As long as there was no
That's
dogs.
why we need the interns.
yeah, but
for.
still, I mean, it was only 20 minutes, and these people were out there for hours and hours and hours, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Much respect for them.
Brewer
Yeah.
fever.
So yeah, and by that crowd, you can tell how much people are really anticipating the 2006 season, which is very shortly going to be upon us. So we're all looking forward to that. As the season approaches us, also we're going to go with our yearly season preview segment coming up, where we're going to go over how we think teams have improved or not improved during the offseason here, and how we think that they'll finish in the standings in each of the divisions of the American and National League, including your own Milwaukee Brewers. So if you stay tuned, we'll be right back with the Brew Crew Review Major League Baseball season preview segment. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome
hello.
back to the Brew Crew Review. This is going to be our season preview. We're going to go over each of the divisions, starting with the American League East, and we'll go through who we think is going to finish. Now, I want to give everyone a fair shot and no bandwagon jumpers. I'm going to have each person start with a different division. So let's have Scotty start with the AL East.
Oh, man.
It's an easy division, Scott.
Yeah, but you know what? It
He's
pains
a
me.
bandwagon jumper. Just
No, it pains
Do
me.
you want to start with the number 1 go to 5 or 5 to 1?
Yeah, we'll go 1 to 5. That's fine.
Go for
a lot
it.
of things pain you. Dog hair pains you.
Hemorrhoids pain.
Yeah,
Who's going to win the American League East, Scott?
it pains me to say it. The Yankees. I have Toronto second. I think, yeah, they made a lot of signings this year, and I think they're going to be good for a year, and that's it. After that, it's over.
Okay.
So I have Boston third, Baltimore fourth, and Tampa Bay up and coming, but still fifth. It hurts.
Yeah.
All right. Chad, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm similar to Scott's. I have the Yankees at first. I have Toronto at second. I have Boston at third. I think they're going to be a disappointing team this year. Fourth, I want to pick Tampa just to be a little different. And fifth, I'll take Baltimore.
Vince,
All right, with the American League East, I'm a bit different than both of you guys, but I'm going to pick the Yankees at first. I'm going to take Boston still at 2, Toronto at 3, and I really don't think that they're that much improved. I don't see it. Fourth, I'm actually going to go with Tampa, like Chad over there in Baltimore. No direction at all, and scandals again. We'll put them at 5th.
Okay. I'm similar, again, to most of you guys. I'm going to go with the Yankees in first. I just think with their payroll and the amount of talent they have, unless their starting pitching blows up, probably the key is Carl Pavano being healthy, which I think he will come back at least by the second half and have a huge second half. Anyway, I think the Yankees will be first. Second, I'm going to go with Toronto, even though I do agree with what Vince said on one of our prior episodes. I think some of the acquisitions, including Troy Glaus, not Lyle Overby, of course, but Troy Glaus is a little bit overrated, and I think they've left themselves with some holes. But I do believe that they'll finish ahead of Boston, who I think will take a step back and finish third, even though I do think Kurt Schilling will bounce back. I think that some of the other holes they left in their offense and also Manny being Manny will actually hurt them this year. So put them third. Additionally, I also like Tampa Bay to be fourth, mostly because I think they're up and coming, not so much quite on the same track as the Brewers, but I think they're edging toward 500 team finally. But for the Orioles, again, I just don't see them going in the right direction. I don't like the pickups they made, like Kevin Millar and Jeff Conine. These are guys who are not necessarily great everyday Major League Baseball players, and the pitching staff is also a little bit overrated. So I don't, even though they got Leo Mazzoli, and a lot of people are thinking he's going to be their Mike Maddox, like he was, of course, but there's no such thing. There's only one Mike Maddox, folks. Sorry for the people in the greater
You think
Baltimore
that there's
area.
such thing as the Leo Mazzoni touch? I don't.
That was kind of blasphemy.
The Leo Mazzoni rock is nowhere near the Mike Maddox touch.
No.
So that's my order of finish for the American League East. I'm only So the Yankees, I think that's our general consensus of Brew Review. Yankees will probably finish first, even though they haven't for a few years. Well, they tied for the division.
They
last
did
year.
win it last year, actually outright because of the breakdown. Tiebreakers.
Yeah, well.
Yep. Thanks to Mike Stanton on the last day of the year.
Good job. All right, let's go to our next division, and let's have Vince start this one off.
Which division are we going with?
American League Central.
It's a tough division. There's a lot of good baseball to be played this year. I think the Cleveland's going to win the division, and I know that the White Sox had a World Championship run last year, and I think a great offseason, actually. I give Kenny Williams a lot of credit. It's more just a plus in the Indians column. I think that they are a team that has so much talent that they could overtake the White Sox, which is saying something. So we'll go Cleveland 1, the White Sox 2. We're going to go Minnesota 3, Detroit 4, and Kansas City is unfortunately still in last place. They made a few signings with some veterans in the offseason, but it's a lot of Band-Aid solutions to a lot of bigger problems and gaping wounds. So.
Yep.
It's very well worded there at the end. Kansas
right.
City.
I'll go with mine next. I really like the Indians this year. I like their acquisition of Paul Burr. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's someone nice to stick in the rotation. Also, I think there's going to be improvements by CC Sabathia and Cliff Lee, as well as all other position players. And even though they traded Coco Crisp, I think that Jason Michaels is an underrated player they're going to put in left field. So I think they're a real on the up young team. I love Grady Sizemore. Johnny Perlata at shortstop, Travis Hafner, MVP candidate last year. This team, I think, will finish
Victor
first.
Martinez, yeah.
But I really think the White Sox did a great job. I think they had a better offseason than they did the previous year by far by signing Tomey, trading for Vasquez, and even underrated signing Rod Makoviak. So it's going to be real tough to hold them up. I think it's going to be down to the wire. I'm just hoping the Indians overtake them. Just not a huge White Sox fan myself, but they are world champions. But I think they're going to finish a very close second, followed by a distant third, Minnesota Twins. I think that this is a year they finally finish under 500 for the first time in a while as a small market team. I just think their pieces aren't really coming together much anymore, and they don't have that much young talent like they once did. 4, Detroit, again, they're just kind of there. And number 5.
Jim Leyland, I think, is going to help in Detroit a little bit.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely in a positive direction.
Yeah.
But Kansas City, not so much. I think they still have tons of holes. They're filling themselves with has-been veterans, most of their roster. And pitching, their young pitchers are leaving camp with personal issues and all that stuff. I think they're going to have a long season, again, ahead of them, unfortunately. But maybe they won't lose 106 games like last year. That's my pick for the AL Central. Scotty, what's your picks?
For the AL Central, I actually picked the White Sox to win the division again. think that it's kind of hard to root against them. I think that Cleveland is going to be as good as they were last year, and you know what? I still only picked them at third. I think that Minnesota might actually have a chance to take second there. And you know what? We're definitely going to agree with Detroit and Kansas City rounding it out. And I really think Kansas City is going to be pure trash. So, dead last.
Scott, be honest.
Dead last.
Are you really not? You really don't like the Royals this year? Come on, they're up and coming.
Yeah, they had some great signings of trash
Don't you
players.
think they're? What do you think of their number one draft pick, Alex Gordon, out of Nebraska from last year? I think he's going to turn the franchise around. Anyway, moving on, Chad. American League Central. What's your order of finish here?
As much as I hate to say it, I think the White Sox are going to be in first place. They had a better offseason. I think their team improved. Cleveland, I just don't. I think they lost a little with Coco Crisp, even though their younger players getting more another year of experience. They won't have another Kevin Millwood type year, even though he was barely 500, but his ERA was awesome. Third is Minnesota. I agree with what Craig said. I think that was a great point. I think they may finish under 500, losing Corey Koski. Torrey Hunter feels not wanted anymore. I think they're starting to lose their flair. Fourth is Detroit. I know it's an open-air stadium. We were there last year. It was beautiful, but I think Jim Leland's going to have problems. It's still no smoking, as Vince and Uncle Junebug found out. And fifth is Kansas City. I think they're a god-awful team, either the worst or maybe second-worst team in baseball.
All right, good discussion, guys. So we all have some different opinions about who's going to win, but White Sox or the Indians seem like the strongest team once again, the American League Central. Moving over to the American League West, and then both Western divisions and the AL and NL seem to be kind of just a potpourri of teams that are moving up and down, but it's hard to gauge. Scott, do you want to start off on who do you think is going to be winning the American League West this year?
The American League West, I have a hard time rooting against Oakland, and I'm going to pick Oakland.
All right.
Number 2, I'm going to go with the Angels, 3, Seattle, and 4, Texas.
Nice. Chad?
Number 1, I'm going to stick with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels. And number 2, I'll take the A's. Number 3, I'll take Texas. And number 4, Seattle.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vince.
All right, I'm going to go with Oakland at 1, the Angels of whatever at 2, Texas at 3, and Seattle at 4. I like Texas's offense a lot more than Seattle's.
Yep. I'm going to go with, I like Scotty's pick. Actually, I agree with Scott. I like the Oakland A's this year. I think they have one of the best top-to-bottom rotations in baseball, kind of underrated with young players right now. So I think they're going to...
It always is in Oakland.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to finish first, followed by the Anaheim Angels. And Seattle Mariners, I think I'll sneak into third this year. I think they're on the upswing. Mm-hmm. And Texas Rangers, I think they tried to acquire pitching, but the guys they acquired this year, Adam Eaton, Vincent Padilla, who has a drinking problem, I believe, really...
So does Scott, and he still makes the show.
But I don't pitch
in
the major
Did
league.
Tom Carter tell you? Or
T.
Carter?
Yeah,
Tom
Carter, yeah.
He doesn't have a drinking problem, but he did tell me about that. Vicente Padilla has a drinking problem.
Our source, Tom Carter?
You guys, Tom Carter yelled at me again the other day.
We can't say his name.
We
cannot say
He
the
wants
name
us to
Tom
refer-
Carter on the air.
Just say our
He's not going to
source.
be friends with Scott anymore if he keeps...
T. Carter or Tom C. It doesn't matter which one, but we can't just go back and forth because
We'll just
Mark,
say
yeah.
they can get Tom Carter. Everyone knows we're talking about Tom Carter, and he's not
Is that the Tom Carter
anonymous.
from UW Milwaukee?
Yeah.
No, don't say that.
Oh, I mean, no.
Take it off. What are we going to do next? Show a photo of our private detective? So
that
everyone
picture,
knows-
remember that
Right,
Mark
right.
Antonio guy?
Good
Yeah.
God.
No, he
Let's just
doesn't-
throw everything away.
Actually, didn't he have a talk? No pictures of that guy?
Yeah, he said he's going to,
Or
quote unquote,
he won't lead
bring
off for our softball team.
a legal suit against us if we use his image on TV
Yeah,
or something like that.
So you won't see another photo of our private detective
No.
ever again.
Does that wrap up our American League West?
Yep,
No.
that's the American West.
That is
we all
American
go?
League West. Well, you didn't explain the fact, though, that the Rangers also got Kevin Millwood in that rotation. You just said Adam Eaton.
Well, he's
an
actually a good
alcoholic
pitcher.
Vicente Padilla. I think.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just don't see them being that good. Even though their offense is pretty good, they're in the field. I really like Ian Kinsler, by the way. But anyway,
He does.
I really don't think the Rangers or the pitching will hold up. Millwood's a good acquisition, but the rest of the guys, no, not as such. So, all right, let's take a quick break, actually, because we're going to switch over to the National League, and then we'll wrap up today's show. So we'll quick go over the NL divisions, and we'll be right back.
Yep.
So stay tuned. All right, we're back with our Brooker Review Major League Season Preview for 2006. We just went over the American League divisions. Now we're going over to the National League, and we'll start with the National League East. And I'll start with my picks for that. And first, like they have been every year, the Atlanta Braves. Bobby Cox is brilliant at. Now they lost when their renowned pitching coach, but I don't think it's going to hold them back. They still have a decent pitching staff. And I think they're going to have some nice young arms. I really like Anthony LaRue, Joey Devine, who they drafted #1 overall. I think are going to contribute to the bullpen.
Sosa, too.
Yeah,
Great year.
Jorge Sosa might be in the rotation, might be in the bullpen. But they got some quality young arms still. And not only that, but they're really masterful at incorporating young hitters along with their veterans. Last year they brought Jeff Francoeur, who mixed right with the team. One of the hot names this spring has been Gerald Salta Lamachia, their catching prospect. They'll probably be sent back down, but he's going to be a future star in the league. So this year the Braves, until we hear otherwise, they're the best team in the NL East. Second, the New York Mets. Now, a lot of people are picking the Mets to finish above the Braves, and they are a star-studded area position, almost like the Yankees. But their formula just doesn't seem to work. The guys they bring in just don't mesh together. I just don't think they play team baseball similar to the White Sox or the Indians in the other league. I just don't like the Mets. But I do think that they'll have a shot. They'll be one of the leading wild card teams with the quality of their team. They're really putting a lot of faith in young pitchers like Aaron Heilman. So that could backfire, but we'll see. I do think they're the second best team in that division. Philadelphia Phillies, again, their team on the upswing. I think they'll finish third. Washington Nationals, fourth. Again, they kind of messy there, dealing with injuries. Alfonso Soriano, who they acquired, not cooperating on the position switch and all that stuff. So I think at best they finished fourth. And then the exciting and young Florida Marlins will finish fifth. Right. Unfortunately, they had a fire sale, but I really loved a lot of the younger players they acquired. So I think that they'll be back in contention within a few years, so but not this year. Yep. So who wants to go next with their picks for the NL East?
Well, I can, just because it's real easy. I've actually got the exact same picks as you do in that division. I do think that the race between Philadelphia and New York could get a bit interesting between 2-3. I just think that Pat Gillick is a great GM. He also underplays his hands a lot. I know that he made some comments recently about the fact that they weren't contenders yet. I think that's just all talk for the media, and that his players know where he stands and that he's with them. Yeah, go with Philadelphia, though, with third, Washington in fourth, only because Florida is going to be in such a rebuilding mode next year. I just don't think that Washington's a very good team, though, either. And I think that Frank Robinson might get the axe by the end of the year, is my guess. Chad and I went to a few of the Nationals games last year in Milwaukee, and I saw a manager who lost control of his bench at times, and I'm not sure if that's been Robinson throughout his career. I know that he had some success before in the past and was a great ball player, but I just saw a guy who lost control of that team, and a lot of whiners, a lot of tantrum throwers, and it seemed like maybe Jose Guillen getting hurt is actually a help for the Nationals. I don't know.
He seemed a lot more concerned with that post-game ice cream cone that we saw after the game.
Yeah, he did.
Than his team, so it was pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
Chad, do you want to do your
Sure, I'll do mine. I'm going to take it. You can't go against Atlanta. Atlanta's done it every year. I think Craig brings up good points. And I think that Bobby Cox is going to take what he learned from Ned Yost, from Ned Yost's tenure in Atlanta, and win his division. Number 2, I'll take the Mets. I just don't like the Mets starting pitching. I think if they had better starting pitching. Pedro has a problem with one of his toes or appendages.
It's like Bill Schroeder.
Yeah, he should see Bill Schroeder and talk about it.
Yeah, foot specialist. Yeah.
And
we can put up a graphic of that on the screen.
They might not have that in New York, though.
And I think the players, without the motivation of Anna Benson, will probably fall down a little bit. I just don't think New York's starting pitching is that good. And besides Pedro, I think Glavine is only successful in an Atlanta uniform. So I'm going to have the Mets second, Philly third, Washington fourth. And I think if Joe Girardi wins 50 games, even with Dontrelle Willis, he should be manager of the year, 4 to 5th.
I really love Joe Girardi as a manager. I think that's a great move. He's going to be a great manager. I've already read the reports he's running wind sprints with the team. And he's all fired up about each of those young players.
There's
so that's awesome.
No facial hair, though. I think we'd all have to shave a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should boost up our Orioles pick in the American League East because of the Anna Benson factor.
We could do that. I'm just thinking about sending
That's why
Frank
I put him
Robinson
fourth.
ice cream cone.
Yeah, good point.
All right, Scotty, go ahead with your NL East picks.
Oh, this is getting pretty redundant. Atlanta, never going to bet against them until they lose a division, which might not happen for another decade.
But you don't bet, though. So
No, you're right. The Mets, again, as Craig said earlier, the Mets are just ridiculous. I don't understand it. They sign all these people, they plug it in, they say it's going to work, It doesn't.
Vince Coleman, Bobby.
And I want to
Bonilla.
give you kudos for last year, Scott, when the Mets had in the offseason signed Pedro Martinez and Carlos Beltran, but you pointed out the fact that they had one of the worst off seasons in baseball, and you were right about that. They did just
Yeah, we all
well
looked at
last
you
year.
weird.
They do it.
Yeah, we thought
they
they
were
were talking crazy.
But
talk.
the Mets do it every year. I mean, I'm not. It's just like picking Atlanta to win it. Why would you go against
Maybe
it
it
at
was
this point?
Jerry.
There's two things that are going to happen in this league. Atlanta's going to win the division, and the Mets are going to somehow find a way to lose.
Can I
It
say one
happens every
thing on
year.
behalf of the Mets and Pedro Martinez real quick? If Pedro Martinez comes up to the will call window, could the guys at the will call window please let him in?
Was that
Let
Jimmy
him
or was
in.
that Whistling
It-
George?
It was Whistling George.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I mean, you have a Cy Young, one of the greatest top 20
Yeah.
pitchers of all time. Let him in the stadium if he
Yeah.
comes up to the will.
I
He
know
does
that-
not need ID.
I know that normally they send you down to the other entrance for that
Yeah.
kind of thing, but
All right.
let them in.
The rest of your
I can
picks,
wrap
Scotty.
this up really quick. Philadelphia by default. Washington 4th, Florida 5th. They're both obviously on the downswing. That's it.
All right.
Great.
Let's say the NL Central for last. Let's quick go over the NL West.
Yeah.
Yes. Who wants to start us off? Vince, just want to do it?
Sure. I'll pick the Dodgers for first place. I really like Grady Little as a manager, and I think that he got a really bad break in Boston in 2004. We're going to go with the Giants in second place. Bit of a resurgence there because of the Bonds factor. Third place will be San Diego, about the same as last year, 500, a little above team. Arizona in fourth by default, and the Colorado Rockies, the worst team in baseball this year.
All right. I'm similar to Vince. I've got the Dodgers in first, but I have the Arizona Diamondbacks, so I think I have a great young core of players. To be second, we'll get into that later, but San Diego third. I think they take a little step back. San Francisco, they're getting pretty old, fourth. And I agree with Vince. Colorado, still too many young players, and there's not a very good pitching staff. I don't know how they're going to win games this year, and they will be bad. So they're going to be fifth. So that's my picks. Scott.
Yeah, this one's up for grabs. This is a fun division, actually. I just picked San Diego to win the division. I'm going to just give it to them. Dodgers, Dodgers, I don't think they're going to be close. Could very well get the wild card, actually.
That's fun, too.
Third, Arizona. Just still a little bit too young, I think.
They're fun.
Fun in the sun.
Right. Fourth, San Francisco, just because Bonds is still just one big question mark. And
He's fun as
fifth,
Paul.
Colorado.
That's fun.
Did you see that hazing they did with Bonds and all the rookies like a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
weeks ago? That was ridiculous.
Somewhat rope and leather.
And
and
what about
chains
the
and all.
Rockies?
Do they even figure in the division, or are
They're
they
dead.
not? They're not
They're
fun
not
this year.
All right, all right.
They're not fun this year.
All right, let's go to yours
didn't make
truly,
my
Milwaukee
picks.
Brewers division.
Hey, I didn't make
oh,
my picks.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Collins,
like an
yeah.
outcast. All right, I'll go quick. Number one, I'm going to take San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to come in first in the division. Number two, the Dodgers. Number three, San Diego. Number four is not Colorado.
Arizona?
Arizona, thank you. And number five is Colorado, so that'll be my predictions.
All right, sorry about that. Chad, why don't you start, since I cut you off, why don't you start off the NL Central?
NL
that
Central.
order of finish.
By the way, I mean, the Pedro Martinez walking up to the will call window, you're not going to find that from Drew Olson or Tom Hundercourt. That's stuff
Well,
you're
they're
only
our
going to find
colleagues,
from
so
Brew
we
Crew
beat into
Review.
the
So
scoop, yeah.
TC
stay tuned.
works
We'll
for
give you all
us
the
and
little
no one else.
insights
Yeah.
that you don't know about. Pedro Martinez walked up to the will call window, whistling. George said, you're not coming in here. Pedro had to walk all the way around the stadium. You're not going to find that in
He sent him down to the I think
TC
the entrance downstairs.
What a
I'm
great
not
story.
sure.
Just stay to our stories. You'll find out some interesting things.
Yep.
But NL Central, St. Louis, number one. I don't know why. I think they've gotten a lot worse, but I think I'm just going to go with them for one more year. Number two, I'm going to say the Milwaukee Brewers. Number three, we'll go with Houston Astros. Number four, I'm going to say the Chicago Cubs. Number five, Pittsburgh. And number six, the Reds.
Scotty.
Top to bottom, same thing, except I flip-flop Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. They can battle for the cellar. No one cares.
All right, moving along. I've got St. Louis again winning the division. In fact, I just think that they've plugged the holes again. I think they have not improved, but I think they'll be back. They won 100 games last year. I think they'll be in that range soon. Milwaukee Brewers, second place. Yes, you heard it here. Houston Astros, third. Chicago Cubs, fourth. Pittsburgh Pirates, fifth. And Cincinnati basement dwellers.
Okay, well, I'm not quite sure on my picks yet because we haven't had a chance to fully consult with our colleagues, Tom Hundercourt and Drew Olson. But I'd like to go, actually, with Chad's pick. St. Louis, 1, Milwaukee, 2 with the wild card win. Third is going to be Houston, 4, Chicago. 5 will be Pittsburgh, and 6 will be Cincinnati.
All
lack
right.
of a pitching staff hurts a team.
Okay, and
Who would have thought?
let's quick go over. We're running out of time here, guys, but let's go over who'd you guys have for your AL and NL wild cards. Scotty.
AL wildcard, I picked the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim or whatever.
Orange.
Okay, Chad.
Oakland Athletics.
I picked the Chicago White Sox since I didn't have them win the division.
I actually did the same thing. Chicago White Sox, number 2.
Okay, nice. NL wild card. Chad, start us off.
I'm going to go, I wrestle back and forth. I'm going to go with the Mets.
Scotty.
It really hurts, but yep, I also picked the Mets.
All right.
And I hate the Mets.
It was a tough call for me. I was juggling between the Brewers and the Mets. I just think, hopefully the Brewers can do it, but I think it'll be one more year. Next year we will be making the playoffs, but this year, just short. Mets I've got, unfortunately, making the playoffs as well.
Inside scoop guarantees. Milwaukee Brewers, wild card winners in the National League. Let's
Nice.
call it. But yeah.
Give it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're not done. We need the AL champ. Chad, start us off.
Yankees.
Oaktown.
I am going for Cleveland.
The Cleveland, they're steaming along.
All right.
Cleveland Steam.
NL champs. Vince, start us off.
National League champs are going to be Atlanta Braves.
Nice call. I like the Cardinals for some reason this year. I think they're going to finally push it over the edge. Scotty.
Well, they'll be NL champs, but that's not pushing it over the edge because they're not going to win it all.
All right. But you're picking the Cardinals. Okay.
I like 5 teams in the AL better than the first team in the NL, but I'm going to pick the Braves, I feel like, with Vince. I think what Bobby Cox learned from Ned Yost, he's going to take him to a World Series.
All right, and to wrap up today's show, who wants us to kick off the World Series champions for 2006? The predictions. Scotty?
Oakland.
Nice. Chad?
Call your bookie, Yankees over the Braves in 5.
Should I pick the Yankees?
Go for it.
Okay.
Over.
I just did. Braves.
Oh, over the Braves. So you and Chad agree on that one?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go a little different. I've got St. Louis beating Cleveland. Did I pick this last year?
Yes.
I think you guys picked the Yankees over Braves last year as well.
It's your Midwest bias.
Yeah, that's true. But you're going a new direction this year, Scotty. What is it again? Oakland over what?
Oh, hang on. Let me see. Oakland over St. Louis.
You're pretty firm in that prediction.
Yeah.
He's
Whatever's on the floor.
Yeah.
So,
Whatever the intern
unfortunately, we're
wrote.
running out of tape. We're going to have to wrap up the segment.
Michelle
but,
dropped that, not you, by the way.
Michelle's fired, so
That's
who
why
cares?
she dropped it. She's gone.
Again, check out our website at brewcrewreview.com. We need some more fan email. Email at the chat at brewcrewreview.com.
right.
Interns, get those applications in at Vince at brewcrewreview.com. Positions are filling quickly.
See you
Fans,
next week.
Email Scotty at brewcrewreview.com.
Come on, fans. I want to hear
And
from you.
additionally, I want to give a special shout out. We're looking forward to the baseball season's upon us here, opening day. We're looking forward to Lorraine and Sherry up in the press kitchen.
Yes.
Sharon, yeah.
Cooking us some meals here in the press.
Right.
And I know we're short for time, but meet us at the Brew Crew Review Tailgate Party opening day. We'll be in the parking lot.
April 3rd. I'd also
Come
like to
visit
extend
us.
a quick thanks to Bonnie and Lynn for being here today and helping us with our studio taping. The 2 people that we can count on that we didn't have to fire today, so that's great.
We haven't fired him yet.
Yep.
And one last shout out, and that's to Marty and Ed Wells, Cop, who we look forward to seeing
That's
up
right.
in the press box.
We'll
as
bring
well.
some bear meat.
Some bear
for
meat
us,
up
by
in the
way.
press box
Yeah.
this year, the
Yes,
opening week. We're looking
big
forward
off
to it.
season. Remember to
Professional
tune
on
into our
opening day,
next
it's true.
episode. It's going to be off the hook, I believe. So we'll see
right.
what
See
happens.
what
You could also say off to Heezy if you want to.
What are the kids saying now today, Scott? You're all up in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know.
You're all up in our.
I
grill.
have what's called street credit.
Something about Wheezy. I think she
All right.
died.
Anyways.
All right, so let's remind all our viewers at home throughout the great state of Wisconsin to remember.
Stay classy, Wisconsin.